I always thought my childhood was peaceful. To me, my mom, Anna, was just mom. Always there, always calm, always making sure I had everything I could ever need. Our little two-bedroom apartment felt less like a rental and more like a kingdom she had built just for me, Leo. It was a world of fresh cookies, folded laundry, and a constant, steady presence that made the sharp edges of the outside world feel a million miles away. She was my sun, and my small world simply orbited around her. It wasn't until I was 28, sorting through a water-damaged box of her papers, that I realized my entire childhood was a beautifully constructed lie. This is the story of how I found out about the silent burdens she carried all alone, the invisible weight she shouldered to give me a peace she never got to feel herself. To really understand the depth of the lie, you have to understand how beautiful it was. My memories are painted in warm, soft focus colors. Our apartment, which was objectively small and in a pretty rough part of town, felt like a fortress of comfort. The worn-out floral sofa, that was our grandstand for Saturday morning cartoons. The tiny kitchen was a magic workshop where my mom could whip up feasts out of thin air. I remember one week she made breakfast for dinner 3 nights in a row. Pancakes, eggs, bacon. To my 7-year-old brain, this was peak luxury, a hilarious breaking of the rules. It felt like a party. It never once occurred to me that it might have been because eggs and pancake mix were all we had until her next paycheck. She had a name for it. Making magic. When the power went out in a storm, it wasn't a problem. It was a pioneer adventure. We'd light candles, tell ghost stories, eat sandwiches. It was thrilling. When my favorite jeans ripped at the knee, she didn't just patch them. She embroidered a little rocket ship over the hole, turning a boring accident into a piece of custom art. I was the only kid in my class with designer jeans. I felt like a rock star. I didn't see the careful stitches of a woman who couldn't just go out and buy a new pair. I only saw her magic. My mother was a single mom, a fact that was as normal to me as the sky being blue. My dad had passed away from a sudden illness when I was too young to really remember him. It was always just us, Anna and Leo, a tiny but fierce team of two. She never talked about him with sadness, only with this gentle nostalgia that made him feel more like a guardian angel than a tragic loss. She filled our home with so much love and activity that I never noticed the absence of another parent. I never felt like I was from a broken home, like some of the meaner kids at school would say. How could it be broken when it felt so whole? Her love was my armor. She volunteered in the school library just to see me during the day. She became the unofficial team mom for my little league team, even though she knew nothing about baseball, just so she could be on the sidelines cheering. Other kids' parents would drop them off and speed away. My mom stayed, with orange slices and Band-Aids. That constant presence built a bubble of security around me. I felt seen, loved, protected. But even inside that bubble, there were tiny cracks, things my kid brain noticed but couldn't quite understand. On the rare occasions we got pizza, she'd always take the smallest slice. "Oh, I ate while I was cooking," she'd say lightly. "I'm not that hungry." I'd watch her nibble on the crusts I left behind and think nothing of it. I remember asking why we never went on a big vacation, like my friend who went to Disney World every year. She'd just smile and say, "Why would we need to go anywhere? We have our own magic kingdom right here." Then she'd pull out a board game, and I'd forget all about Florida. And then there was her exhaustion. She had dark circles under her eyes that makeup never quite covered. I'd find her asleep on the sofa minutes after I went to bed, a book fallen to her chest. "I'm just a night owl," she'd explain if I caught her. And it seemed plausible. Our apartment was overflowing with her secondhand books. Her fatigue was just another part of her being, like her smile, or the faint vanilla scent that clung to her clothes. I saw all these things, but I didn't see them. They were just pieces of the puzzle that was my mom. A puzzle, I would soon learn, was missing 90% of its pieces. Her magic wasn't magic at all. It was a grueling, desperate, lonely full-time job. The discovery happened on a rainy Tuesday in October. I was 28, living back at home to save up for a down payment on a house. It was comfortable, like slipping back into my childhood. Mom was still mom, making sure I was fed, asking about my day, reminding me to take an umbrella even though I was a grown man. That Tuesday, a pipe under the kitchen sink gave up its ghost. It wasn't a huge flood, just a slow leak, the kind you don't notice until the wood swells and the air starts to smell damp. It warped the cabinet. It soaked a stack of old boxes she kept in the back of a closet. Decades of junk, she called it. Should have thrown it out years ago. I spent the afternoon pulling out the damp, musty boxes. Most of it really was junk. Old Christmas decorations, my elementary school art projects, manuals for appliances we didn't even own anymore. But one box was different, heavier. The bottom had practically dissolved. When I lifted it, the soggy cardboard gave way and a cascade of paper spilled across the floor. At first, I was just annoyed. I remember muttering to myself as I started gathering things back into piles. But then my eyes caught words that didn't belong in my mother's world. Cold words, official words, words with no warmth in them at all. Notice of intent to evict. Final demand. Account delinquent. I froze. I picked up the eviction notice. It was dated May 1998. I was 10. My mind started racing and trying to connect the threatening text with my memory of that spring. May 98. That was an amazing month. That was the month she surprised me with a puppy, a little terrier mix I named Comet. I remember her telling me the landlord had finally agreed to let us have a dog, framing it like this huge victory she'd won through charm and persistence. I remember crying with happiness, hugging that little ball of fur. It was one of the best moments of my childhood. And here, in my hand, was a piece of paper saying that the very same week I got my dog, we were about to be thrown out of our apartment. It didn't compute. The two realities couldn't exist in the same space. My memory was pure joy. This paper was pure terror. My hands started to tremble. I knelt on the floor and dug through the rest of the pile. It felt like a secret archaeological dig of a life I never knew. There were pay stubs from a company called Citywide Cleaning Services, a place I'd never heard of. The hours were 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. There were waitressing schedules from a diner across town, mostly weekend shifts. I thought she spent her weekends reading or tending to her little garden plot. They were fanned a bank denial for a small loan of $2,000. The reason cited was insufficient and unstable income. The date was 2 weeks before my 12th birthday. The year she bought me my first real telescope. I had wanted that telescope for years. She told me she'd been putting money away in a special birthday fund. That telescope felt like proof of how much she loved me. Now, seeing that letter, a cold dread pooled in my stomach. Where did Anna actually get the money? The papers painted a picture of a life lived on a razor's edge, a life of nonstop, grinding anxiety. It was a desperate scramble happening in the shadows, after I went to bed while I was at school in the dead of night. Every single happy memory I had was now being overlaid with an invisible layer of struggle. The foundation of my life, the security I had always taken for granted, was crumbling right there on the living room floor. I was holding evidence of a war I never knew she was fighting, and my mother was its only soldier. I sat on that floor for hours, surrounded by the ghosts of my mother's past, piecing together a story she'd deliberately hidden from me. The eviction notice was the first thread, and as I pulled, the whole tapestry of my childhood began to unravel. I laid the documents out chronologically, creating a timeline of her silent battles. The truth was staggering. My mother, who I knew as a part-time librarian's assistant at my school, had been working 3 jobs for most of a decade. The library job was the one I knew about. It didn't pay much, but it let her be close to me. The pay stubs from the cleaning service and the diner told the real story. She'd leave the school, come home, make me dinner, tuck me in, and then while I was fast asleep, she'd head out for a second, sometimes a third shift. My night owl mom wasn't staying up to read. She was fighting off bone-deep exhaustion to put food on our table. Those dark circles under her eyes weren't a cute quirk. They were bruises from 80-hour work weeks. I found bank statements with balances in the single digits, peppered with overdraft fees and late payment penalties. It was a paper trail of absolute stress. Then I found a folder that was mostly dry. Inside was a deed for a small plot of land she had inherited from her parents. It wasn't much, but it was hers. Attached to it was a sales agreement, dated the year I turned 13. I remember that year perfectly. That was when my orthodontist said I needed extensive braces, a project that cost a small fortune. My mother didn't even flinch. She just said, "Of course, we'll make it work." I had no idea making it work meant selling the only real thing her parents had ever left her. She sold her past to invest in my future, to straighten my teeth. The weight of that sacrifice felt crushing. I thought about how I used to complain about the braces, how I'd mope about appointments, completely oblivious to the fact that I was wearing her inheritance in my mouth. But her burdens weren't just financial. I found a series of letters from the apartment management, noise complaints, all thinly veiled critiques of her as a parent. One letter griped about the incessant bouncing of a ball. Another mentioned unsupervised shouting. I was an energetic kid. My mom always handled it with grace, gently redirecting me. But these letters weren't gentle. They were sharp, judgmental. One sentence was underlined. "We expect all residents to maintain a level of control over their households." It was a clear dig at her being a single mother, an insinuation that she was failing, that we were a nuisance. In a small leather journal I never knew she kept, I found an entry from around that time. Her handwriting was shaky. Mrs. Henderson from 3B stopped me in the hall, asked if things were under control. Her eyes were so cold. It's like they see a woman alone and just assume chaos. They don't see how hard I'm fighting. They don't see that every bit of my energy goes into making a safe, happy world for Leo. Sometimes the loneliness is the heaviest part. It's not just the money. It's feeling utterly alone in this. That broke me. The single mom stigma wasn't some abstract idea. It was her daily reality. She wasn't just tired from work. She was soul-weary from the judgment of people who had no clue what she was going through. She had to be a perfect mother because any mistake would be used as proof against her. The armor she gave me was forged in the fire of social isolation. With this new information, my whole childhood warped. Every memory now had two sides: my version and the truth. My memory: Mom volunteering at the school book fair, smiling as she helped me pick out a book. The truth? The school waived the book fee for parent volunteers. She was there so I could get a new book without her spending the $5 she didn't have. My memory: Mom making me eat my vegetables, telling me to eat up and get strong. The truth? She needed me to eat everything because there often wasn't any extra. Her "I've already eaten" was a quiet sacrifice to make sure her growing son had enough. My memory: her incredible calm when I broke my arm falling out of a tree. She held me, told me I was brave, handled the hospital with a steady hand. The truth? In her journal from that night: hospital bill is $1,800 after insurance. Don't know how. I'll pick up more shifts. Can't let him see me worry. He needs to feel safe. My fear is a luxury I can't afford. She was managing her own terror just so she could manage mine. My peaceful childhood wasn't an accident. It wasn't effortless. It was a masterpiece of concealment, a deliberate, back-breaking, exhausting act of love. She absorbed every financial panic, every condescending look, every ounce of fear, so it would never touch me. She built a wall around my childhood with her own body, and I never even saw the bricks. I must have been on the floor for 3 hours, with the evidence of her secret life spread all around me. The sun was setting. Then I heard her key in the front door. She walked in humming, carrying groceries. It was Anna, home from work. She stopped short when she saw me. "Oh, Leo, honey, you didn't have to clean all that up. I told you I'd get to it," she said, her voice warm as always. But then she saw my face, the tear tracks on my cheeks, and the specific papers I had laid out in front of me, the eviction notice, the land sale, the pay stub from the night cleaning job. Her smile vanished. The light in her eyes was replaced with a guarded, almost frightened look I'd never seen before. It was the look of a soldier whose hidden post has just been discovered. Silence. The air grew thick with everything unsaid. She set the grocery bag down on the table. I wasn't angry. All I felt was deep, aching sorrow and a tidal wave of awe. My voice came out as a whisper. "Mom, why didn't you ever tell me?" She looked away. Her eyes landed on the old floral sofa. She let out a deep, tired sigh, like it contained 20 years of weight. "Oh, that," she said, trying for dismissive. "That was a lifetime ago. It's nothing. We were always fine." "No," I said, my voice getting a little stronger. I held up the eviction notice. "We weren't fine. This says you were terrified." She flinched. She walked over and sank onto the sofa, her hands clutched in her lap. She looked older than I had ever seen her. The lines around her eyes suddenly looked less like laugh lines and more like road maps of exhaustion. "My job," she started, voice quiet but firm, "was to be your mother. Your only job was to be a kid. That means scraped knees and homework and dreams. It doesn't mean worrying about rent or the electricity getting shut off. That was my burden, not yours, my choice." "You worked 3 jobs," I said, the words feeling hollow. "You sold Grandma's land for my braces." A single tear slipped down her cheek. She didn't wipe it away. "Your smile was more important than some dirt and trees I hadn't seen in 20 years, she said simply. "What was I going to do? Let your teeth grow in crooked because I was feeling sentimental?" A pause. Then she said it, slowly, like it was the plainest truth on earth. "A mother's love isn't about what she keeps for herself. It's about what she gives away. I would have sold my own soul for you." She finally looked right at me. Her eyes held the full, unfiltered truth of it all. "Did you think I wanted you to know? To lie awake at night worrying about money? To feel guilty for wanting a telescope? To feel like you were a burden? Never. The greatest gift I could give you was peace, a childhood without adult problems. So I built a wall. I smiled when I wanted to cry. I said I wasn't hungry when my stomach ached. I said I wasn't tired when I could barely stand. It wasn't a sacrifice. It was just being a mother. My love for you, Leo, was a promise that you would never have to feel the fear that I felt every day." I went to her then. I knelt on the floor in front of her, and for the first time since I was a little boy, I buried my face in her lap and sobbed. I cried for the 10-year-old kid who got a puppy, totally unaware of her mother's terror. I cried for the 13-year-old who gripped about his braces, having no idea what they really cost. And I cried for her, my mother, Anna, the woman who fought a war in total silence and declared victory by giving me a life of peace. She stroked my hair the way she did when I was a kid with a scraped knee. Her hands were worn, her knuckles swollen with arthritis, but they were the strongest hands I'd ever known. In that moment, the perfect image of my mom shattered, replaced by the reality of a hero far greater than I ever could have imagined. That conversation changed everything. A veil lifted, not just from my past, but from my present. In the weeks that followed, I started to see my mom differently. The simple portrait of just mom was gone, replaced by the image of a warrior. Her simple, everyday habits took on new weight. When she'd push an extra helping of food onto my plate and say, "You need your strength," I no longer just saw a caring mom. I saw a woman who had once been truly hungry and who was still, decades later, making sure her child would never know that feeling. When I'd watch her carefully mending a shirt, I didn't see thriftiness. I saw the ingrained habit of a woman who had made every dollar stretch until it screamed. Our relationship became deeper, now built on a shared truth. I started asking questions, not to dwell on pain, but to understand her strength. And she began to share small stories she had locked away, telling them now with a distant, gentle smile. She told me about selling her wedding ring to pay for a school trip I barely remembered. She told me about learning to fix the toilet from a library book because a plumber was out of question. Each story was a new revelation of her resilience. And slowly, I finally understood what real strength is. It's not loud. It's not flashy. It's the silent, relentless, day after day choice to keep going. It's the grace to absorb pain so someone you love doesn't have to. It's the quiet dignity of holding your head high when the world is judging you. My mother's strength wasn't in winning some big, visible battle. It was in surviving 1,000 invisible ones and making sure I never knew they were even happening. Her burdens were silent, but they were monumental. She carried the weight of poverty, exhaustion, loneliness, and judgment, and she did it all by herself. Her silence was her shield, and it protected my innocence. She gave me the greatest gift a parent can give, the freedom to just be a kid. She built my peaceful childhood out of her own turmoil, my security out of her own fear. My entire life has been a testament to her unseen, unheard, unbelievable love. My story is mine, but I know the theme is universal. We walk around thinking we know the people who raised us. We see them as parents, as fixed points in our lives, not as complex people who had their own fears and desperate struggles. Maybe your parents carried their own silent burdens. Maybe the peace you took for granted was a hard-won victory they never even mentioned. If you're lucky enough to still have them with you, I encourage you to ask. Look past the comfortable role they play in your life and try to see the person. You might be surprised to find a hero living in your own home. Please share your own stories in the comments. Our parents' sacrifices deserve to be seen and honored. And if this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more stories about the hidden truths that shape us. Ultimately, my mother's story is a reminder that the biggest acts of love are often the quietest ones. They're in the meals we took for granted, the opportunities we never knew the cost of, and the silent battles fought for our safety while we slept. Let's honor those sacrifices, not with guilt, but with deep, lasting gratitude. Let's appreciate the people who built our worlds before it's too late. If this story made you see someone in your life differently, watch the next video on your screen. It might just change how you see them forever.